Lobbed in well, dangerously so, and it's in the back of the net, and it's Dan Shanahan.
Well, it's time to wind back the clock to the first round of the Munster Championship in 2004. Waterford 3-21, Clare 1-8 in Semple Stadium, Thurles. It was a day that Dan Shanahan netted a hat-trick for Justin McCarthy's side, and the former hurler of the year is on the line to tell us all about it. And Dan, you got your first championship goals that afternoon. Why did it all click into place for yourself on that occasion?
Yeah, Tomas, I suppose a couple of previous years that hadn't been going well for me. You know, I wasn't getting much game time. A lot of it done to myself. Went away, worked hard. Jerry Fitzpatrick came in 04, Tomas, as I said before, and brought in gym programs and weight programs and psychology and etc. And I took off from there, like, you know, and you know what I mean. It was a fantastic year for me, 2004. But as I said, Jerry Fitzpatrick had a big help. Justin McCarthy and his management team had a massive help, and myself, of course. The way I dedicated myself to get better, Tomas, that year, like, you know, and the rewards for our hard work pays off.
Absolutely, Dan, and I suppose you saw some of the rewards in the league final. You got 1-3 for yourself, a personal tally, but it was a very flat performance by the team overall against Galway. You're well beaten in the end. How did you kind of turn that around in the space of a week to face Clare in the Munster Championship?
Yeah, Tomas, as you said, we were very flat for our National League final, so we didn't play well as a team. Personally, I wasn't too bad the same day. I got 3 lovely points. I got a goal, Tomas, which was really important for me more than anything else, as in the confidence came for the week after, if you know what I'm saying. We were written off, Tomas, going into the championship against Clare a week after the league game. No one gave us a chance, excuse me, against a fantastic Clare team. We were written off, and we believed going into training that Tuesday and the Friday, what we had in the dressing room was well capable of beating Clare. We went out and everything. I'll be honest with Tomas, I think it was our best team performance that I was ever involved in that day against Clare. Everything went right for us. Every player did his part. And a lot of emotions that day because we were very, very written off. The minute John Milan won the first ball, he got his first score, I think, within 17 seconds. He lifted the crowd, and we all, the whole lot, bought into that after that, like, you know.
Yeah, you got off to an absolute flyer, Dan. What do you remember about your first goal against David Fitzgerald?
Yeah, Tomas, as I always say to people, you know, just always follow the ball in. I can remember Tony Brown, who I'd say, if he looked at it again, he probably mishit the ball, but I'd ventured in, Tomas, from number 10. So I had, and I caught the ball from over Conor Plunkett's head, I think, and Brian Lohan, and just shot in the hurl, inflicted to the past Davy Fitzgerald, like, you know. And again, Paul Flynn won the ball out to Tony around the square. And when you're around the square, Tomas, after making the run, you have a chance, whether it's a breaking ball or whether you can catch it, you know. But again, when I got that, I think would I scored it for not having the confidence from the week before, Tomas, I don't know. You know, the confidence from the week before the Galway game, to do that, to try that, and to get the goal was rewarding, to be honest with you.
What were the instructions that Justin McCarthy gave you that day, then? Because you were moving a lot, as you mentioned there, between wing forward and full forward.
Yeah, Justin really didn't instruct us. He just said to be yourself, Tomas, to be honest with you. As in, sometimes John would go to the wing and I'd go inside the corner. But that day, I think, Tomas, we constantly kept Clare on the back foot. We had to, because they were a fantastic team. The Lowens, Ollie Baker, Lynch, Conor Plunkett, James, he was on the bench, Griffin. They had a fantastic 15 players, Anthony Daly in charge. So we had to keep them on the move, and they had no answer for our legs that day, Tomas. That was down a lot to Jerry Fitch, and the fitness we on the day was down to Jerry, and the hurling was down to Justin, and the belief in ourselves was down to Justin again. That we were written off going into that game, and the way we performed, we blew a massive Clare team out of the way that day, Tomas.
Yeah, and you mentioned Anthony Daly there, Dan, like it was his first championship match as Clare boss, and like 20 minutes in, he had to take off one of his former teammates of the 90s, Ollie Baker. What were you thinking at that stage when you saw that happening?
Yeah, Tomas, I wouldn't be thinking much if I'm being honest. Just when you sit back and watch the game again, that's when you say hard calls have to be made sometimes, Tomas. And Dalo would have won 2 All-Irelands with the great Ollie Baker, like, you know, and to do that, I suppose it's extremely hard. So it was. I think he took off Brian O'Connell too from cornerback. He was on Milan the same day. Milan gave him a trimming. And I suppose it's very hard, maybe, especially for Anthony, to take off Ollie Baker. But Ollie Baker owed Clare nothing, Tomas. Kelly and Dave Bennett were fantastic midfield that day. Absolutely fantastic, Tomas. And they just ran him all over the park, so they did, and the boys had no answer for him.
Yeah, that midfield duo was well on top, Dan, and like your second goal was really made in Lismore. Dave Bennett kind of drove it down on top of you. What happened after that?
Yeah, again, Tomas, that Brian Feely came out and sold a lovely dummy, and Dave got the ball. And again, an unsung hero is Dave Bennett, Tomas, because he was one of the most skillful hurlers, that was around. He could do anything with a slitter. He could make it talk. He drove it as far as he can inside. And again, I was round that area with Big Shame up in there, another unsung hero, boy, to be honest with Tomas, that he flicked it up and it just happened to break for me, and I finished it past Davey again, and the teamwork that came that way, 4 touches and a goal, Tomas. That Seamus Pinder, you watch it again, had the intelligence to flick the ball. I just happened to get it and finish it, and I was overjoyed, Tomas, to be honest, for getting a second goal. I'd never scored a goal in championship, and to get a second goal for me personally was unbelievable, and it really took the pressure off me, Tomas, as in let the hair down and be myself and go out and enjoy it. And we have to get in the second goal against Clare. I really went to the fans and that side of the field, Tomas, probably over celebrated a bit, but it was more in relief than anything else, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, and like you really threw the shackles off then in the second half. You really pulled away from Clare, and then you got your third goal, a break off the post after Brick Welch took a shot, but you followed it in, Dan. So it was what you were all about really at that stage, following the ball in.
Yeah, Tomas, I would have done it. I think one of John Milan scores in the first half again. He could have given it to me inside, but he put it over the bar. It's just a habit I'd always do, Tomas, that whether it came off the post or the crossbar or anything, that you're around the square there. Half-backs love to be coming out with the ball, Tomas, but they don't like going back towards their own goal. And if you can, I always try to turn wing back so we get a chance, follow the ball in. I had a bit of pace, Tomas, at the time. I suppose I was able to get in and get out, or else John Milan would cover me and I'd slip into his corner for a few minutes to get a breather. But again, as I said, the brick that day actually missed the ball. So it was easier to put over the bar than hit the post, if I'm being honest with you, Tomas. But he hit the post. But I just looked and again, it wasn't the best struck ball on the ground, but it went in past Davey. Davey was looking at the post and he dived full in, but he just wasn't able to get it, and nearly hopped the wire below there and the town in the Turles, Tomas, after getting the third goal. But again, I thought the best score that day I got, Tomas, was my point. A very tight angle and I went over the bar. But again, look, Tomas was for a lot of hard work for myself paid off. But as I said earlier, Tomas, it's one of the best team performances I was ever involved in with a Waterford team, and that day against a great Clare team.
And you mentioned the celebrations with Waterford fans, Dan, and just looking back at the television coverage of the match and some of the articles in the newspapers that followed, the team took a little bit of criticism maybe for some of the showboating, maybe over-celebrating. What did you make of all that?
Yeah, again, Tomas, look, everyone has a title to our opinion. I think from the get-go that day when John got his first score, we were written off, Tomas, that week going into that game against Clare. Clare were red hot favourites. No one had given us a chance. Justin McCarthy had promised a performance, and we owed Justin McCarthy that as well. And I don't believe in, if you get a goal, Tomas, you're entitled to celebrate any way you want. We didn't get carried away, Tomas, if I'm being honest with you. Some of the punditry would have said that Waterford jumping around here, jumping around that, our papers would have done it. But I can assure you, we didn't get carried away. It was just more of a team performance that we were delighted with. And the fact that we were written off going into the Clare game was a big team. I can remember Ken McGrath saluting the crowd. Seamus Pinder coming off, got a massive reception, and rightly so. He doesn't usually put his fist up to the crowd, and he did that day. We just needed that win that day, Tomas, against a fantastic Clare team, and I think we deserved to be over exhilarant that day, as in very proud of ourselves.
Absolutely, Dan, and we have to mention Ken McGrath's performance. It was his first championship outing at centre back. Why did that work out so well for the team?
Yeah, I suppose he was named at wing, Tomas, and he moved into the middle. But I can remember the first ball, he gave it to Milan in the corner within 17 seconds. As I said, we got the score, and Ken took off from there. He was outstanding. He had some serious hurlers on him that day. Tony Griffin, Colin Lynch, to mention two. And he just blew him out of the way. Brian Phelan made his debut, I think, too, at wing back. A massive player. James Murphy, Tom Feeney, outstanding. Stevie in goal. I could go through the whole team, Tomas. They all did their bit. As I said earlier, it was one of the best team performances I was ever involved in that day, because to be written off by the people that are probably saying that we're over celebrating the week going into the championship was a nice way to get back. We knew, Tomas, as a team, we'd not won. It was the first round of the championship. We tipped a couple of weeks later after that, and we didn't get carried away. We kept our heads on our shoulders and drove on after it.
Great days, Dan. Brilliant memories. Former hurler of the year, Dan Shanahan, thanks so much for your time this evening.
Thanks, Tomas. My pleasure. Bye.
Walsh strikes it off the post, and Dan Shanahan has got a hat-trick from a man who never scored in the championship up to now. Came into this particular first-round match with a record which read 18 games, 22 points scored, and he's now got a third goal.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in. More championship build-up on next week's programme, including Daoise hurling boss Liam Cahill. Until then, it's Slán go Fóill.
Now you're hurling. Lorna Porca with Tomás McCarthy on WLR.